tech enthusiasts, to another exciting episode of Tech Beans, your one-stop destination for all things technology. Today, we have a very special guest with us, Kumar Saurav, the CTO and co-founder of Vodex.ai. Kumar is a seasoned professional with over 13 years of experience in the IT, IoT, robotics, and most importantly, for our discussion today, artificial intelligence industry. His passion lies in generative AI, a rapidly evolving field, and Vodex.ai is at the forefront of creating innovative solutions powered by this technology. If I may say so, Vodex stands as a big threat to the call centers with its one-of-a-kind AI-generated tool for outbound calls to potential leads and customers. Unlike a machine-based or robotic-based call, Vodex talks in a human-like voice with where every call feels like a friendly and genuine conversation with over 98% of accuracy in the speech recognition. So Kumar, welcome to our podcast Tech Beans. Great to have you.
Thank you very much.
So let's start. I'd like to know more firstly about Vodex.ai, what it is and what inspired you to create it. What problems does it solve for enterprises in general? So how did it all come up?
So basically, we got this idea. Basically, me and Anshul, my co-founder, we both know each other for like last 17, 18 years. We are university batchmates. So have been working together for, I think, last 1 decade almost. We have earlier ran an agency which was also into NLP and chatbots and everything as well. So the idea of Vodex actually, how does it originated is, we were doing these kind of projects. Before that, actually, I was into IoT and robotics. I am actually an electronics and electrical engineer. So I ran another company into that. We were doing fairly decent in that, doing projects for the government and a lot of other places. My idea towards data and AI came when the Cambridge Analytica scandal happened. So before that, I was not into even coding and everything. So in 2017, I was like, wow, data has the power to mend minds. People, like, they can change the voting percentages based on that. So that was like a wow factor for me. So Anshul was already an IT engineer. He was working for Mindtree. He was in London working for BBC at that time as on-site engineer. So he and me, we talked for like 6-8 months. Then he said that, man, let me quit the job. Let's start doing something together. So he came back to India in 2017 and we started an agency where we used to do projects, any kind of projects into NLP, majorly into NLP. So while we were running that, the first problem which we actually as a startup faced was the sales. How to do sales? The problem is we both are techies. We cannot reach to the customer. We doesn't know how to empathize with the customer, what to say, when to say, and everything kind of a thing. So we kept on learning, growing kind of thing, but it kind of hit into our head that, oh, this is a big challenge, and no one was solving the sales. Like, how can a single man company or even a 10-person company or an enterprise can easily reach out to its customer and at least streamline their conversation and everything around that. So that's when the idea in 2019, 2020, when the first wave of COVID was going on, one of the US call center actually approached to us, asking us to build a bot that can speak over the phone call and do pre-qualification for their customers. They brought more than 4-5 projects. It was including a few companies like AMD Health as well. Big cancer pharma drug company. They were doing to call to their patients who were under trial of some new drug, trying to know if, say, suppose they have getting any fever last day or something like that. So we were working on that idea and we kept on creating multiple projects like that. We started getting more customers as well. That's when in 2021 we realized that, okay, this is what at least one leg of the sales, at least the pre-sales we can handle right now. So let's start building a SaaS product around it. So in 2021, when the generative AI word was even not a big, huge buzzword at that time, even it was not coined at that time. After the GPTs came, then it became. At that time, there was a model named Bloom that came into picture, and we started working on it. Uh, we bite some data from call center as well of the sales conversations, find the model according to our wishes, connected to our own NLU engine at that time, which we had. And then we found out that the bot was doing way better conversation. So we kept on growing and growing kind of thing. So when then LLMs started spreading around, we immediately, since we were already working on vector databases and everything, so we started hopping onto the LLMs, and now it's like a ongoing journey of creating perfect bots and everything around it. But the core idea at Vodex, currently I do assume that everyone thinks that Vodex is trying to solve the calling solutions and everything. But the vision that Vodex carry is to solve the sales engagement and automation process, like end to end. Like technically, how does a sales happen? Is like a customer comes into your pipeline, then you make a call, send them automation emails. They might come for a meeting, they might not come for a meeting. The SDRs do follow-ups. Then they come for a meeting, you ask some qualifying questions, show them, demo them the product around it. And then you again try to close the deal using some closers, or the SDR already closes it. So we are trying to automate that entire process, like from your CRM only. You doesn't need to do anything. As soon as your lead generation engine, whether it is social media campaigns or something, somehow if any lead comes in, the 90% of the repetitive tasks, like calling them, sending them mails, bringing them to the meeting. In the meeting itself, like a human will not be required, a bot will go. It will present everything. It will talk to the customers. Will send the minutes of the meeting, post them, do a follow-up, send a payment link and everything. So most of the things it will do around it. Which till now actually we have not launched that version of it. We are working on the Vodex 3.0, which we will release, I think, somewhere around July or August as a beta. A lot of customers are already asking for it, when it is coming. So we are trying to focus on that part. So technically, Vodex is trying to solve the entire sales engagement and automation platform kind of thing.
Okay, great. So it sounds like you identified just the right gap in the market and went for it. Also, I'd like to know, Kumar, what does Vodex stand for? Where did the word Vodex come from?
So basically, we started with the name Lilchurp AI Technologies Private Limited. It was earlier known as Lilchurp in 2022 when we started. Then the idea of it actually came by one of our investors. He said that since basically GitHub's one model is called Codex. Codex is actually to generate codes, right? Automated codes. You write codes for. So he said that you are generating voices. So do the Codex. Plus also, if you see if our logo explains, VOD is like voice on demand, and E is equal to like equivalent to X is equal to experience. So that's how we perceive it.
Right.
But, yeah.
Okay. So just out of curiosity, Kumar, call centers versus Vodex.ai, how is it better? Why would companies go for Vodex instead of having their own sales team, doing those calls, 10 calls a day, 100 calls a day? How is Vodex helping companies?
So the maths is very clear. So first of all, if you are just adding 100 calls or 200 or 500 calls, it's technically you shouldn't go for Vodex. Why? Because the Vodex first thing it brings is the scalability. You want to reach to 20,000 customers every day. You need 100 people to do that. Like on an average, 80 to 100 connected calls, human agent can handle at max, other than the dialing calls. If we include the dialing calls, around 200 calls. Problem here is that the scalability cannot be reached by the humans. At second point is, even if you say suppose hired 100 people, 80% of them are just doing their job. They are not excellent at it. Whereas in a bot, if you feed in the correct training data, it will create the same experience for each and every customer, no matter what they talk. Okay. So it's like, I will tell you with an example. We were creating a bot for one of the law group in US, and we were not, the customer was writing a prompt. He was finding some trouble where they actually asked the customer, so it was actually a pre-qualification that does he require attorney services or not, because he submitted a form somewhere that he met an accident, he or someone met with an accident. So in the call, they were supposed to ask that, what happened during an accident? Now it's a very long question. For a human, it's very easy to understand that he has not ended the question, ended his answer. But for a bot, it was very tough. You won't imagine, just by writing a simple sentence in our script, that wait for his entire answer to be completed. Whenever you feel the story is complete, then only move on to the next one. We just write this in a simple English text. Our LLM was so smart enough that it, I did a video as well, where I was explaining that my wife met with an accident actually was the title of the LinkedIn post. In that video, we talk about the bot asked me that, hey, how did the accident happen? So I said that my wife was coming out of the Costco from the parking lot, and I took a very long pause, went silent for 3-4 seconds. Then the bot said, and what happened next? So it said that, okay, and then she was driving back on the 17th crossroad, just made up some facts, 17th crossroad, while she took a left turn, yeah, and the bot said, yeah, complete there. And then it said that another car ran into her from the left side. Then it said that, oh, that's so sad. Yeah. So that's like creating an entire human experience. So you're getting the entire human experience. Third thing is, of course, the cost. So we say this to every customers, and that's an average phenomena which we are seeing in the calls is they reduce at least 40% in their cost, at least save 90% of their time. How? Because the bot will dial 10,000 calls within an hour, whereas a human will dial 100 people will dial in a day. So the bot will, you will save 90% time. And usually we have seen within 16 days, their average number of orders increases by 1.6 times. So they get more, they started getting more revenue. So that's the clear differentiation. As far as having the competition, how better the conversation is in terms of being with the human, it is an add part. I'm not saying it is creating a better experience than human, best human salespersons. Of course, we cannot say that we have surpassed them. LLMs have not surpassed, so we have also not surpassed. But soon, these all are moving towards AGI, so there will be a great differentiation.
Vodex can replicate your best sales personnel in a way, right? Oh, that's great. Yeah. So we'll come back to Vodex again, but first I would like to know a little about generative AI from you. So different forms of AI have been there for quite a while, but what is different with generative AI in specific, and why is there so much buzz around it lately?
Yeah. So basically AI has been for years, not years, but decades, right? Way back since the US military started working on it. And AI has different forms of algorithm already inbuilt in. They used to do different tasks. So the one very easier thing to understand is, say, suppose in AI there was first machine learning. So those algorithms used to work perfectly, like on the finance data, say, suppose sales projections and everything. Now, when the idea of transformers came by Jeffrey Hinton and backpropagation came, then the idea of deep learning came. Now, where this deep learning came up is, deep learning used to understand the data way better than what the machine learning used to do. And it used to do it on its own, based on whatever algorithm you were running in. So why it does that is because it's based on, you give an input and output data, and it automatically learns from it that how better I need to create a neural algorithm, that it will be, my responses will be as accurate as the output responses automatically. So it tries to train itself like a child does that. And then the idea of generative AI also comes in. But with the general AI models and the generative AI models, there is a one big differentiation, that you have to create one model for each and every task. Say, suppose creating a sales projection one, and you want to do an NLP task. Now you have to create a new neural algorithm. You need to train a new model. You need to create a new machine learning models. That was the limitation of the AI models. Whereas these generative AI models can be multi-models, singular models, and can be formed used in any form. Secondly, these are actually a foundational model, which we call. these are not like generalistic other models which are available in the market, like by linear regression or random forest algorithms, where they doesn't necessarily need to be trained on the data that they will not necessarily answer the data that it was trained on. It can generate new data as well. How does it generate? It generates on the basis of a projection scores that, hey, I believe that this is the correct response in the next, and which we have in terms of GPTs and Anthropic Cloud or any models you say, we see that it is doing way better and better. Like recently Cloud 3 was released and it surpassed GPT-4 as well. Somewhere around 84% of the efficiency in logical reasoning and maths. That's great. It's like you doesn't need to do maths. It's doing it for you. So earlier it was very hard for it to train. Now why these models work better is because of the vast amount of data that is trained on. And that's where also a concern comes in, that if you doesn't feed in correct data, it will not answer correctly. And all keeps rise to another problem of hallucinations, and there is other certain stuffs that we need to take care of in generative AI as well.
You spoke about certain benefits of generative AI, but I'm sure that any other technology, just like any other technology, even Gen AI will have its challenges, like you mentioned a few. And I would like to cite the example of Microsoft's Stave, which was a Twitter chatbot, which the company had to take down because it was thought to be racist after a point. So there was a public apology and everything. So what do you have to say about like the challenges or the concerns with generative AI?
Well, that's very true. Actually, the challenges are increasing day by day as well. So first of all, we need to understand on what these models are trained on. These models are trained on publicly available internet data. These all companies scrape the data that is available in the public domain, and then they train a model on top of it. Now, where like you talked about one problem, the gender bias or the racial bias. So bias, hallucination, these are the major problems with generative AI models. And these all usually occur because of the data not being correct in the correct format. I've literally seen language models and chat models saying slangs in sentences, which if I incorporate into our model, it will be like, it will saying wrong words to the customers and they will get pissed off, right? So on what data it's trained on is becomes a very important point. Second, also, if you see this bias or hallucination, these all are happening because of data. Now in the current scenario, when the data has become very evident, there is too much data available, right? And day by day, new data is getting available as well. Even not that, using GPTs or any language model, you can create your own synthetic data as well. But someone should cross-verify before training that model, that the synthetic data doesn't contain any parity. You cannot just say that, hey, I've given an example to him and let him create thousands of millions of tokens. So that's exactly what is happening. I will give you a very quick example. I wrote a post about a restaurant, exactly say this, but someone posted over Reddit and everything. It's about Kritrim that launched a few days ago by Ola. So someone asked to Kritrim model that, are you trained by OpenAI? It said that, no, I'm not trained by OpenAI. Then said that, why does it sound like you are GPT 3.5? So then it said that, yeah, I am a language model trained by OpenAI. My name is GPT 3.5 and I have so and so on. Now the problem is it's not GPT 3. I'm pretty sure Bhavish didn't do that. But the problem is their team might have to create more data for 2 trillion tokens they trained at. They ran an algorithm to create a training data, synthetic training data for some LLMs. There it might have gotten those answers and it is saying those. So if you didn't verify your data, it's creating nuisance for you. Third becomes the hallucinations is a huge amount of problem. Like say suppose you didn't, like in our case, we tried to reduce it or minimize it at 97%, like only 3% our bots hallucinate. But say suppose the bot was supposed to ask 5 different questions around qualifying a customer. But rather than answering the question, customer started asking, how did you get my number? But I didn't submit that form, and bot kept on talking about it. And then suddenly you didn't train the model to discuss about the pricing. And ask that, okay, no, only tell me the pricing. I'm pretty convinced. I want to know the price. I want to buy. the bot will say, if you have told it that the price, whatever the price you have said, it will say about it. But if you have not said anything about it, it might just say that, hey, we are offering at $40. Now, this is wrong information that you are giving. So for that, there are certain mechanisms of guardrails that are there in picture, which we also implemented in our model, so that LLM doesn't hallucinate. If it is hallucinating, we block that response. We say that, oh, it's not in the context given to you. Don't answer this. Let's say that, so sorry, I cannot answer this question as of now. Let me connect you to my supervisor. He can answer. So then a human intervention comes. So those are the generalistic problems, and day by day compliances, and then the government rules in EU, they pass the resolution. In fact, in our world, FCC passed a recent thing that you cannot make a phone call to anyone in US without their consent. They claim that the AI voices cannot be used for that. Okay, for the robocalls, for the marketing, like cold calls, they blocked it. So they have explained clearly that if you have the consent of the customer, then only you can call. But the regulations also becomes a part of it, where the challenges comes for the companies and for the customers as well.
Correct. So elaborating on your point, Kumar, I'd like to know, are there any regulatory challenges or restrictions in what you are doing for Vodex, and how are you tackling the same?
Always, regulatory compliances were already there. So say, suppose in US, we want to do in healthcare, we need to be HIPAA compliant. The other certifications and like SOC 2 and GDPR, these all were already there. Now, the more and more new regulations are coming in picture as well, like this FCC rule that I talked about. It's just a web news. They are also trying to regulate more, that the human intervention should still be there. It's actually why it's done as well is because people are also, see, when with great power, someone said, I think it's OpenAI, great power, great responsibility. So AI brings you a great power, but people misuse it as well. So why FCC ruled out any kind of non-consented calling using AI voices is, someone in US used voice cloning and mimicked the voice of Joe Biden and called everyone in Philadelphia saying that don't go for election, don't vote for election. Because he knew that the voting percentages, if increased, their guy is going to lose the election. So, and it was evident that everyone got the call. Some people got convinced as well that, say, some people got convinced, hey, I got a call from Joe Biden. And it was not like a voice blast. The bot was talking in Joe Biden's voice. If you said, why are you saying that I shouldn't go, but I have already taken out my car outside, I'm about to go, well, don't go, something bad will happen. So something like that people can create. So there comes more the challenges where ethics are also broken. There's a lot of I think recently there has been a lot of community building. I'm a part of a NASCOM community as well here in India, where we AI draft for the compliances and the security and regulations and everything are written for the Indian government. So those things need to come into picture so that people businesses will feel constrained of using AI, but that is for a greater good. Don't constrain it too much, but at least constrain it at some extent, right? Otherwise, it will be like a mayhem. So we have to comply with certain regulations always when moving forward, and in our industry as well, and it will keep on growing as well. But for me, it doesn't matter too much, because we were never into unconsented calling. We were always into sales, not some doing voice blast and something like that. So for those companies, there becomes the trouble.
So Kumar, coming back to Vodex now, can you share some of your success stories or specific use cases for us to understand how the tool impacted and made an enterprise perform better? And also tell us about the feedback that you probably received from your customers, your clients about Vodex.
So yeah, there are plenty of success stories and use cases of it, including enterprises, small and medium. We are not too much focused on big enterprises as of now. Like our major category, we should cater to either to a bigger retail house or to a banking and insurance sector where there is a major calling. But we have not focused too much on them. We are still constrained towards the fintech and insurance tech companies, small and medium businesses, digital marketing companies that maintain a lot of things. Vodex is something like we do offer everything as an API. So you doesn't necessarily need to come to Vodex. Vodex can get integrated into your platform. We in fact has integration to multiple CRMs which are known other than Salesforce as well. So it's like a one-click solution. You click and everything happens into your CRM. You doesn't need to work on it. And we are making it more robust and robust. So the first thing which we have seen, I cannot probably name exactly the customer. I'm not sure I can name or not. But there has been a huge amount of use cases. I will give you examples as well. Like the law group I was talking about, this was an example of a small and medium businesses. Let me talk about some bigger companies. So there's a company in insurance tech. They have more than 70,000 insurance agents across US and Canada. So these agents are supposed to reach out to the customers for their insurance plans, whomsoever has shown interest, sell them an insurance plan and everything around that. They also have a calling software called Switchboard. They actually own that software only for their company. It's a big unicorn, like more than I think $6.8 billion company in US. So they implemented Vodex into their calling solution called Switchboard. They integrated entire Vodex into that and they started doing the calls and everything. Now the most important thing is their customers retention increased a lot, like 30-40%, because the reaching out to the customer to pay the premium on due dates and everything become very easy. If the customer has any issues, any previous thing that happened because of that, he doesn't want to pay the premium, he want to move on to another company. There they were able to save out the customers. To give you numbers, in fact, as well, like first I will give you the exact numbers, like around the connected calls. Suppose you reach out to the customer on mass, how much of the value do you create? So say suppose you reach out to 10,000 customers, around 52% of your calls is only get connected because people might have shut down their numbers, it might be switched off, or multiple other reasons, not in network area or something like that. Now out of the connected calls in US, there is a big problem that 30% of the calls actually goes into the voicemail where the customer doesn't take. So there, if a human is involved, it's a huge amount of waste of time, right? Because you are leaving just a voicemail. Whereas the bot can do it very rapidly. So there, first of all, those money is saved of you and everything. Then moving on to the connected calls, we have seen around final conversion percentage that is around 2.6 to 3.1%. In call center, we already work with call centers as well. In call center, we have seen the number as maximum as 4.3%. So it's almost as far as, and we are talking about the best case scenarios, best sales agents and everything, best team, best products. There is one more thing we need to understand, that not every product will get sold at the same pricing, like people will not buy immediately as well. So that's another context about Vodex getting used and the use cases as well. Considering other smaller industry like roofing, solar and everything. Like solar, let me give you an example. In US, usually a lead cost of a solar is around $4,500 because one unit of a solar on an average gets sold at $65,000. So for $65,000 sales, they are okay to buy leads from authentic people at $4,500, despite having a customer base. People have shown the interest. Now with Vodex, what we have seen that if they dial 10,000 numbers, they get around 3 leads. And for that 10,000 dialed call, they usually pay us around $1,000 first. So what they were paying for $4,500, they are getting a $300 something dollars only. Like in $1,000 they are getting 3 leads. So for 3 leads they would need $15,000. So they are saving a huge amount of cost there. And most importantly, they can literally dial as many numbers as they want. It depends on how bigger their database is of the consented call, and then they can keep on using it. So those are the various success metrics where the value is given. I have seen usually that if the value of the product is higher, then it becomes more substantial. So say suppose you are doing a D2C, there people usually go for discounts and everything. And like a customer added something into their cart. We have this Shopify integration as well. So say suppose someone added something into the cart but didn't buy it. So there is actually a report by a university named as Raymond Research Institute that says that 10 out of 10 customers, 7 customers doesn't buy your product, usually if they come to your platform or add something into the cart. Now, out of those 70%, 47% of them didn't buy it because someone knocked their door, they started talking to someone, they got a call, something they wanted to buy, they just forgot. They just now they needed a nudge. Usually people do get SMS now, even on WhatsApp. In US, although WhatsApp doesn't matter, but people do get SMS and everything, but it skips your mind. But then, what people are doing, our customers are doing is as a Shopify widget, they are triggering calls to them after a specific amount of time. If their cart value is of X amount, greater than an X amount, and then calling the customer, hey, you added something into your cart. Can I help you with anything? Said, if he's looking for a discount, they can have a discount based on he's a new customer, old customer, repeat customer, and everything around that. So that's how the automation is bringing more value, and it's again another $300 billion problem. So each year more than globally more than $300 billion of sales is lost because of cart amendment issue. The people added into the cart didn't buy it, like window shopping added. So there all the values are getting created. We are trying to solve as much as use cases, but also as a company, as a startup, we should focus the niche as well. That's why I said that we are not going for bigger banks as of now. We'll start doing it after Vodex 3.0 launch, which is somewhere here down the line this year as well.
Overall, where does India stand when it comes to generative AI and to the race that is happening compared to the rest of the world? You talked about US, but where does India lie today when it comes to GenAI?
So I would say that India is lagging too much behind, but still, we are not as at par with the US competitors of ours. The reason behind that are also very simple. First of all, I will explain where we stand, and then what are the reason, and probably what should be the solution. So in India, 90% of the companies who are working on generative AI are on the application layer. When we say application layer, like they are using some API endpoint of some LLM which is given by someone else, just creating a wrapper. Like I doesn't want to do anything. Hey, you ask something, I will send it to the other LLM in US and we'll get the response and we'll show it to you. That's like the easiest thing to do. Now there are then 7-8% companies like us who is a slightly deep diving into it. We are also not at a very code level, who are actually taking those models, the US or open source or Indian or any kind of those models, then are using those models and with their own set of data or own data, proprietary data, they're training models on top of it and creating value out of it. So like the company like us, there are 7-8% companies that are trying to do that. And are very few, like if you take your Saurav, Ola Krutrim, I'm not sure if they trained a foundational model. They said 2 trillion tokens, so I assume that they wanted to train a foundational model. But them and I think Saurav is the Indic bird and Hathi model and everything. So these are the only few companies. I know one other company, I'm just forgetting the name, they were into the NASCOM as well. So they are also trying to train a foundational model for niche use cases as well. So those are the only like 0.1 or 1% of the companies who is trying to work on the very core principle. Whereas in US, if you see like Anthropic, Google, Apple, every company is working on their own core 1% of the model. There are even startups that are trading that. OpenAI was even a startup that did that. Now the problem lies that why isn't Indian people are training the core foundational model? So these models cost a lot to train. First of all, people only think that the training a model will require a GPU cost. No. For a 2 trillion token model, it's like a huge, vast amount of data. Someone need to go through it. Like even OpenAI paid $2 an hour to African workers for curating their data. But $2 an hour you need to pay, right? And what will be the output in that tool? And that only not only the frontline worker, there will be managers on top of it. There will be person who will be checking the data. Then when finally the data is ready, then you train the model. Then the compute cost comes. Then the inferencing that model is again a huge cost. Like we have all heard that how much GPT actually pays every day on GPU cost just to run their models on scale. So those costs also become evident as well. Now, where the challenge lies here is around the funding scenarios in the Indian ecosystem. I'm not saying that the Indian ecosystem is not getting funded. People are getting funded, not as good as in the US market. So that's where probably the challenge lies, that how we expect Indian startups to train everything, give a gold at the price of a silver. So that's where they become the challenges. I'm not saying that it is not possible. Some people are trying to do it, but seen us, even Saurav raised as a 6-month-old startup, they raised $41 million directly. Right, they had to raise a $41 million. Like we are somewhere around $2-3 million, $10 million company cannot do something as big as that, because there is a cost involved in it. If you go on websites like Together on a Scale, they show you calculators like how much it will cost to train if you have X number of tokens of models. So those how is the area is where we need to work on as an ecosystem, so that the companies can work in a better way in Indian ecosystem. And it's very much required, because we also don't do in India. We doesn't do actually sales in India. We have very few customers in India, and we are not catering too much to right now, is because of the diversity of India. It's not only about different languages. Each language also has different dialects. So it's like after 100 kilometers, everything is changing. So you need to change your voice model, your speech recognition, and a lot. So for that, the money is required. That is very much necessary.
Absolutely. So, like you mentioned, some Sutrim AI and all, we've also seen Google, Bard, now called Gemini, ChatGPT, GPT-4. These are all writing brilliant content, brilliant codes, and so much more. So, all you have to do is give the correct prompt. So, obviously, there is a buzz around how AI might replace humans professionally in many fields. What is your viewpoint on this? Do you think it's a threat?
I will give you with an example. So when the new telephones came into houses, so it became a threat for something called telegraph, which eventually has stopped. When the mobile phones came, then there used to be a PCO, and if you remember long ago, there used to be PCOs around the corner. People used to go and call to another people and who has a landline at their home and everything, and talk to their families. So with technology changes, is it like the people who were working in the PCO industry has lost their job and now they are doing nothing? When the technology evolves, the people also evolves. That's why there's a generation changes. That's why we are calling the current generation Gen Z, or I don't know what, millennials, Gen Zs and everything, right? So as the generation changes happen, things will keep on changing a lot, right? So we shouldn't think AI as a threat. It's a threat at some extent. If people do it, people will lose jobs. Who will lose job, I will tell you, is those who will say that people will like Kodak. Kodak said, no, I doesn't want to use digital camera. They had to go bankrupt finally, right? So those who will not adopt, who will not upskill themselves, they will probably die out in future. So like you were explaining, you are into marketing, right? Now the Sora, you might have seen OpenAI. Sora has come to create videos out of the text. Now say suppose you said that no, as a filmmaker or as a marketing person, I'm not going to use Canva, I'm not going to use anything. There becomes you becoming absolute of yours, because someone else will try and will create the same result or similar result or a lesser better result than you, but in a very faster time. And it's a fast-paced moving world. So the threat only remains to your set of mind. It doesn't create a threat to each and every individual. It creates a threat to the people of the set of mind that I doesn't want to adopt, I doesn't want to change. I wanted to do. I started this job. I want to continue this job the same way till the end of the time. That's not how it's gonna happen. And that scenario will keep on evolving in future as well, because now we are moving towards a more better AI world, like artificial general AGI, which we expected that we will reach towards that, and by 2030, if we reach, then more threat will come to those things. But it's like a companion to you as of now, what I can see.
So Kumar, we have several tech enthusiasts, from students to CTOs to everyone who follows our channel, TechBeans. and many budding AI professionals as well, I'm sure. So, can you share some of the key skills or qualities that you think are very important for them to grow in this industry of AI?
So, it's very simple. Like, even in fact, I will tell you very quickly that way back in 2017, when I was into electronics and all. I was too good into embedding models and everything like that. I used to program digital logic circuit boards. I used to know programming language, Verilog and everything. So I did a transition from that to AI, and it was like an ongoing process. So even I will tell you, people usually think that I will go and join that course and I will learn from that. Okay, I will go to some access school. I'm not saying that don't go to any edtech, don't learn from that. That will give you a speedy success. But the best way, which I find out from my personal opinion, is that start doing real-time live projects. What we did, me and Anshul, is that we were learning and we started taking projects on about that from our customers, real customers who's gonna pay us real money, like thousands of dollars. I remember specifically there was a Korean customer that came in 2017 end to us. He wanted to train a Korean language model NLP, and I literally didn't have any idea. I just said yes because he said $10,000. And me and Anshul were like, oh, dollar. So we said yes. And we started doing that. And till date, even on Spacey, if you go, there is a model trained in Korea, done by us. So we trained literally a model. We literally curated a model. We took a lot of support of our customer as well, because we didn't know Korean. We didn't know in Korean also, like in English and Hindi. In Hindi and Indian languages, there is a lot of dialects as well. So we send him the data that, hey, correct this data and then send it back. Then we train the model on. So when you do the real-time projects, you learned a lot. Of course, before doing that, you need to have some expertise around the programming languages. So be the front runners, learn the languages which are coming in future. Like right now, the Python is the major language which people are using it for training these models. So of course that it is, but that doesn't limit you only to that. You have to learn machine learning and deep learning as well. But keep on doing it, keep on learning it. I'm saying that keep on trying to do it. Even if you are not getting a real-time project like we had, a real money one, try to create a project of that value for free. Like just do for it. People, I won't say that go and work for free for someone, but even if it's to upskill yourself, if you have to do it, just do it. Just do it. Just prove yourself. Like give yourself a 3 months or 6 months of a time. You will see the value that you create. I will tell you, one of our AI engineer, he was in second year of engineering in 2020. Okay. We hired him when he was in second year of engineering in our previous company, and he is still a part of Vodex, and he's one of the leading engineer in our company. Straight out of the college, we are paying, I don't know, buckload of money to him. Like he's one of the highest paying one. Why? Because he kept on growing. He started with us at merely 10,000 rupees. So that's how you scale yourself. When you put the money aside for some time, for a small period of time, I'm not saying that till the end of the time earn 10,000 rupees, but for some time, just to upskill yourself, when you put and you learn, you stress yourself to learning towards that, then it will become great. Secondly, always keep track of what is the new thing coming up. That's very important. Like my morning routine, today I just didn't do it, but my morning routine is go through GitHub every day. What is the trending repositories? Learn if any new papers were released. If the paper is related to me, like if it is related to computer vision, I might read it later. But if it is related to my industry, I'm gonna read it as straight as possible. We'll try to even immediately come up with an idea for my team to how to implement it in our product as well, to give it a worth a try. Certain research ideas pan out, certain doesn't pan out, but you need to give worth a try. So similarly, you need to start upscaling yourself, start learning as well. And there is a plenty of data available over the internet from which you can learn. There are multiple YouTube videos from which I have learned, like Krishna X, I knew one guy is, He created videos long ago which are still evidently good enough to as a basic starter pack. Then you can still go for some certain school where the upscaling will be fast, but it depends on what cost you can. If you cannot bear a cost, don't go, man. Just go on internet. Just that's it. Just pay your data that. So that's how you should go about it, learn about the technology and everything.
I'm sure these tips would really help the budding AI professionals who would be watching this. Also, Kumar, you've had quite a entrepreneurial journey. So also for anyone who's looking to start a startup, any tips?
I know this is gonna be a very cliche line, but just go for it. Idea, just go for it. And it doesn't matter if you fail, if you pass, it doesn't matter. Right? It took me 14 years to come into startups. I have been an entrepreneur when the word of entrepreneurship was not like I am doing entrepreneurship since 2011. I never worked for any company. But if you see my last 10 years, initial first 10 years, I was not a very successful. I did have money. I was running a service-based company. I did have the money, but I was not someone like Bhavesh Agrawal or something like that. Then we came into this startup ecosystem of raising the capital. Fairly, we have raised already 2 rounds. The third round is about to close. Hopefully, by the time you will take out this video, the news will be in the market. So, if you have an idea, you think it's worth trying, okay, just go for it. There's few things still I will like to mention before that. Certain times people think that the idea is the most important thing and that will make them successful. That's absolutely rubbish. That's not true. Execution is the key. Even a small idea, small thing. I was talking to our sales mentors yesterday and they were telling me that there's a company from Bikaner, I think, in Rajasthan. What they are doing is they are going to every houses and telling them that dude, you have a Wi-Fi connection in your house, but you doesn't consume the entire thing. You have unlimited data plan. What if we share that data with you and you pay lesser amount? You doesn't have to pay us the broadband fees. You pay to them directly. We will pay you back of the unconsumed broadband, and we will show you. They have a software that shows that hey, this much data was required and everything around that. So they created something product and small idea, but it can impact at the consumer level. Every internet user would love to try it. Now that's how you see. So doing surveys is very important while you doing a startup. Not just immediately go and resign from your company or drop out of the college. Dropping out of the college, I still doesn't make any sense of it, probably because of my age. But I believe that you should first think that the idea and execution can be carried out, and then just jump on it. Just jump on it. Even if it fails, you will learn a lot. The second time you do, you will do 1,000 times better. I've seen. I cannot take the name of the company. They are another 100x portfolio company for us. I wanted their founder to be our founder of us, to come and work. Because their company was having some trouble and everything. They were thinking of shutting it down and everything, despite getting funded. Why I wanted him, why I wanted to offer him? Because I've seen his zeal. I wanted him to excel. I wanted him to be a part of us. I wanted him to give some equity in our company as resource and everything, because he deserves that. So if you will work and if you will jump off the ship, whatever you're sailing and want to become an entrepreneur, you will always get access to a lot, despite you become successful startup or not. It doesn't matter.
Learning is what matters.
Yes. The journey is very important actually. It's rather than reaching the mission, it's not some war that we need to win. It's the journey that you need to go through.
Absolutely. So, Kumar, we're at the end of the podcast. And lastly, I just want you to tell us if anyone wants to leverage your Vodex tool and wants to reach out to you, how can they do so and how can they contact you?
Just drop an email either at contact@vodex.ai or sales@vodex.ai, or you can write to me at kumar@vodex.ai or anshul@vodex.ai. We do have, you can directly use out the platform just by signing up. There's no cost involved in that. In fact, you get free credits to try out the platform as well. And just do out to us. We are more than happy to show the platform and its potential as well to everyone who is looking forward. And I hope we make a dent into whatever you are trying to do. We help you into making it better.
Great. So, ending this very interesting and insightful conversation, I'd like to congratulate you, Kumar, on building a very unique tool and which will surely drive success for businesses when it comes to driving conversions, optimizing your leads, the time, the cost, and so much more. Wishing you and your entire team all the very best for the future, and hope we see great success and your great news about Vodex in the future. Thank you so much for being part of this.
Thank you for inviting me. Great day.
Thank you.